Gong Show won't be seen tonight, so we can bring you a very special episode of The Gen X Files. Welcome to The Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today's show is all about Gremlins. Yeah.
Nice. God, that's such a good theme song. It's my favorite.
You know, there's one word that I will use to describe that soundtrack that I don't think I can use to describe many others.
What's that?
But in a lot of moments, it's melting. Like
Yeah.
It goes,
Yeah. It kind of goes along with the weird goopiness of them.
Yes, exactly. It's a melty soundtrack.
It's a weird, melty goopiness. Take yourself back to 1984.
Ooh, oh, no.
No.
Big Brother's watching. Big
yeah.
Brother's watching. You can do some double speak?
Yeah. March 22nd, teachers at the McMartin Preschool in Manhattan Beach, California are charged with satanic ritual abuse on the children. The charges later dropped as not just completely unfounded, but literally never happened.
Oh, yeah. It was horrible when we do our show on that because
Yes.
that is a really, really, I was going to say embarrassing, but embarrassing is not strong enough word for what that our country did at that time under the guise of satanic panic, which, man, you're like, how could this stuff happen today with all these people going nuts? It's been happening forever, man.
So I started
These are the same weirdos that burn. Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was going to say. These are the same weirdos that used to burn women that they wouldn't pay attention to them because they. It's like we've had these incels since the beginning of time that just hate women and want to burn them at the stake, either figuratively or literally. So, yay!
This is going to be a fantastic episode already. I can tell.
Baby.
May 31st, 6 inmates, including James and Linwood Briley, escaped from a death row facility at Mecklenburg Correctional Center.
Okay, I'm going to have to point out that you're the one setting the tone for this with all of this mayhem. I like it.
It's dark. It's a dark movie. The only occasion this has ever happened in the United States where someone escaped from a death row facility.
Did they escape or escape?
They escaped.
Nice, because that's
They triple
extra
escaped.
escaping. Exactly. So did they get caught?
They did. The two, James and Linwood Briley, were out for about 3 months. They actually gotten jobs working as mechanics, and they were eventually caught. And all 6 of them were eventually put to death.
You know, they could have murdered. You know, Bundy escaped a couple times, went out and murdered a bunch of ladies.
Yeah.
These guys went out, got jobs, and paid taxes. I'm just saying.
Yep.
Sounds like they were kind of rehabilitated a little bit. I don't know.
The first guy was actually caught literally an hour after they got out.
Some of those guys aren't the smartest.
And the only reason they got caught, because there was a 7th guy who literally ratted on all of them. He planned with them, and then when they decided to do it, he goes, I'm not going to do it. And then he turned around and just immediately turned them in.
Snitches get stitches, baby. He gonna get shanked.
Well, he was executed by the state.
Oh, well.
So they were all on death
man.
row.
He got shanked by the state.
Yeah.
And he did the right thing.
They were like, thanks. And then it
wow.
was electrocution.
Yikes. He must have been a bad, bad man.
Yeah, they all were. They were on death row.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
guess you're on there for something serious.
June 4th, Bruce Springsteen releases his 7th album, Born in the USA.
Born in the USA. I was born in the USA. Everybody.
4 days later, Gremlins is released in theaters on June 8th, despite the fact that it's set during Christmas.
Some dumb coked up executive got fired for that one. It would have been number 1 if they would have released it. Vibe is vibe, baby.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
if you're in the vibe, it was just a dummity dumb.
Yeah. Well, it's
Plus,
not
only that. Sorry, man.
No, it's okay.
But not only that, but they're putting it up against the movie that's probably the closest to it, Ghostbusters, opening on the same day.
Yeah, they literally opened on the same day. That weekend in 1984 was incredible because there were other movies now that I don't remember.
Oh, man. I remember that weekend because I used to go, my mom worked at Coldwell Banker, and her office was right next to a sixplex in Rancho Bernardo, California.
Ooh.
And Rancho Bernardo.
You have to say it that way.
Exactly. It's part of the state, part of the county.
The charter?
Charter, yes.
You have to say it
Yes,
that way.
roll your
Santa
R's.
Bernardo.
Anyway, I digress. But we had a sixplex, and when I'd go to work with her, and then I'd just go in and theater bounce, baby. I'd buy a ticket,
Nice.
buy my big old giant popcorn and some peanut M&M, and then drop
jam
those
all together.
peanut M&Ms in there and shake it up, and then warm M&Ms. They're so great because the M&Ms would melt, but the inside gets melty. So you got these little
Gooey.
chocolate goo. Oh man, that was my snack, and I could last all day with a big old thing of popcorn and
Yeah,
a big old thing
yeah.
of M&Ms because they actually gave you real candy back then,
Right,
big
right.
sizes
Right.
for not. We were like $2.
Yeah.
Now it's like $25. But yeah, man, I remember that weekend. I was so excited. I went to work with my mom, and boom. I saw Ghostbusters. I saw Gremlins.
Nice. There was a movie called Beat Street that opened.
Beat Street, King of the Beat. Yeah, I did see that actually. I don't think I saw it. Yeah, I did see it in the theater. Beat Street, King of the Beat. Yeah, that's how.
Was it rapping? Was there rapping?
Huh? Yeah, it was like the Hollywoodization of hip hop. Breakin' and Breakin' 2. It was along those
Yeah,
lines.
oh,
A
okay.
Beat Street, a King of the Beat. That was the. I just still remember the theme song, but
Oh my God, that's crazy.
but regardless, man, like the week
was a
before, I
great-
saw
yeah.
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. There was Romancing the Stone.
Star Trek 3 was out.
Search for Spock, which is a really good one. After the triumph of To the Wrath of Khan.
Police Academy, Footloose.
Oh,
All of these
man.
movies were in the theater that weekend. It was
so
crazy.
yeah, so Jersey
Yeah.
Boy, yeah.
Jersey Boy's coming out. He's excited.
Just that time going to the movies, and this is before I could drive or whatever. So I had to. It was Mom City.
you were just
sometimes
there.
I get
Yeah.
my buddy, but mostly I would go to movies. It's how I learned to love movies.
Yeah.
because I would just go. I had this nerdy friend that would one summer kept track of all the movies that I saw.
Oh yeah.
And I had at least once I had seen every single movie that came out that summer.
Nice.
Like
Nice.
56 movies or something.
Nice.
But anyway, that
Yeah.
man, the Ghostbusters Gremlins
That's
double
a
feature
crazy,
was
yeah.
so good, man, because I saw the Busters first because I was
Mm-hmm.
so little. But when I was, I don't know, 12, I was kind of chubby and weird looking, and I looked a lot like Dan Aykroyd.
Oh,
and people would be like, "You look like Dan Aykroyd," and no offense to Dan Aykroyd, one of the most talented and handsome men, but as a young man, I didn't find him very handsome.
Right.
And I didn't want to be Dan Aykroyd.
Kind of goofy looking. Yeah.
But I loved him. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
loved Blues Brothers. I loved everything that he did. I loved-
brilliant.
He
Yeah.
and John Belushi were my favorite. When John Belushi was the first celebrity death that devastated me. To this day, I remember exactly where I was when
oh
he
wow,
died.
wow.
Loved him. Loved Chevy. Loved Bill Murray. Loved all these guys. Loved Harold Ramis and Bill Murray from Stripes.
Yeah.
So, and I was a huge sci-fi and horror and all that kind of. So I was just like pumped, man. And then Gremlins was a bit of a surprise because they didn't really market it at first
yeah.
as what it was.
No.
I was like, oh, maybe I'm getting into a little ET action, or
that definitely led to some complaints, and eventually, which we'll talk
not
about
for me
later.
because I was a teenage boy who loved
yes,
it.
it was the parents. Parents were
Yeah.
complaining.
But there's very few. I remember going to all the Star Wars movies. I remember, where I sat when I was in line and stuff, because those were very, there's seminal experiences for me. But I also remember this period of just going to the movies every weekend, seeing weekend?
Yeah.
Every weekend.
Every weekend?
Good Lord. I remember going to the movies every weekend and just seeing so much good stuff. I'm sure it's gone, but that sixplex in Rancho Bernardo was my church.
Nice.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
That's where I would go.
You went
know?
and worshipped every weekend.
Yeah, Phoebe Cates. That's who I worshipped.
So what are Gremlins? Gremlins did not start with the movie in 1984.
No, sir.
They originally started with the Royal Air Force during World War II.
The Royal Air
in
Force
Britain. Every time the Royal Air Force, the pilots, there was issues with the planes, they would blame it on these little gremlins.
Yeah.
They'd say, "Oh, they're causing problems." Again.
You know why?
Why?
Because they were drunken, lazy bastards. They're not going to check on. It's Gremlins. It's
just the Gremlins.
I believe it's Gremlins. I don't think. I'm in the middle of having a sherry. I'm not going to have time to check the plane. It's Gremlins. What can you do?
So Roald Dahl was actually a Royal Air Force pilot, and he wrote a book in 1943 called The Gremlins.
He's my favorite.
he's
Right after Seuss,
amazing.
man.
Yeah,
he was my everything he wrote. James the Giant.
It was a very successful book. Walt Disney was actually trying to make it into a movie, but they ended up scrapping it.
Yeah.
But Joe Dante, the Gremlins director, he had read Dahl's book, said it influenced him. There was a Bugs Bunny cartoon with him fighting the Gremlins.
This is what I want to talk about.
That's where I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a Looney Tunes junkie as a kid. Bugs Bunny to this day is my hero. I mean, my personality was very much influenced by him. The reason why I love Bugs, he was smart. He was a smart ass, but he was smart. He always got the best of everybody by his words and what he did. He didn't shoot him. He didn't slap him or beat him up mostly. You know, it was mostly just him putting on a disguise.
Yeah.
Or a dress.
Or disguise that no one should be able to see.
Whatever, but he always won by using his smarts.
Yeah.
And being a smarty aleck.
Yeah.
And that informed who I was and who I am today. Thank you, Bugs Bunny.
So that also influenced the writer
of Gremlins. I'm sorry. But that Gremlins cartoon was so nerve-wracking to me because it's like they're on a plane and he's trying to stop. It's like the one time that Bugs Bunny wasn't winning.
Yeah.
Like they were getting the best of him, these little Gremlins.
Well, yeah, they're clever little sons of bees.
So I was like, I don't like these guys. A, because they're getting the best of Bugs, which that shouldn't happen.
Right.
And B, they're hurting the troops. Because these were part of the propaganda cartoons they did during World War II, which were good propaganda cartoons. I mean, it's okay to kick Hitler, right, Adam? Adam, are you sticking up for Hitler?
Yeah. Brave stance there. It's okay to
Hitler's bad.
Kick Hitler.
I don't care who hears me say it. I've said it before. I'll say it again.
Bugs Bunny in that cartoon also influenced Chris Columbus, our favorite writer/director, who wrote the script for Gremlins.
You love Chris Columbus.
Oh my God. It makes me sad because I knew he had written stuff and I had forgotten that he wrote Gremlins. He wrote The Goonies.
Yeah. This show must really hurt your soul sometimes.
Because I love Gremlins. It is such a good...
Hey, I've said this before, and this is my new catchphrase apparently. I've said this before and I'll say it again. In the hands of a good director, he's fine.
Yeah.
Goonies is an amazing movie because it had Dick Donner. This movie's great because it had Joe Dante. Joe Dante comes from horror roots.
Yeah.
He comes from Corman roots. The guy knows his gig. And these guys, these gruff guys like Dick Donner and, these manly filmmakers, whatever you want to call them, these filmmakers, these old school filmmakers that know how to bypass the cloying, syrupy nonsense that Chris Columbus oozes from his own directorial. I think you don't like him as a director, but I think you like him as a writer.
I think that's true. And I think he's better as a writer, definitely, than a director.
Yeah. I mean, he's written some really great stuff. We got to give him props.
Totally. He said the inspiration came from his loft when at night...
It sounded like a platoon of mice would come out and hear them skittering around in the blackness. It was really creepy.
He wrote the original screenplay as a spec script to show potential employers that he could write.
For those of you who don't know what a spec script is, that's where you do a lot of work for no money.
Yeah.
Spec means you're an idiot, basically.
He did it. I mean, he's young and he was doing it to prove that
we all do
could
it.
Have a script. I mean, I've got 100 spec scripts sitting around.
Yes. They're all specs until somebody buys them.
Yes, until you get paid for them.
Is short for speculative.
Yes. The story was not actually intended to be filmed until Steven Spielberg took an interest in turning it into a film.
That man just finds people and stuff. That's one of his true talents. Is that guy's just like, what a weirdo. Going through the trash. He's like, oh, what's this? Gremlins. And pulls a gross piece of gum off it and some pizza sauce and starts reading the thing. He's like, oh, I don't know. What a creeper. But a guy who can find... we wouldn't have so much of our entertainment would be so bland without Mr. Spielberg. He's really good at finding stuff.
He finds those gems, man. In fact, he said about the script,
it was one of the most original things I've come across in many years, which is why I bought it.
That's really spot on, Spielberg.
He was here.
Excuse me. Spielberg, he asked Joe Dante to direct. Joe Dante had directed The Howling in 1981.
Yeah, you know who's in The Howling?
No.
The mama from E.T., Dee Wallace Stone.
Oh, that's right, because wasn't her husband was in it too,
yeah.
right? That's
yes,
where they met.
exactly.
Yes. Hey,
Comes
callbacks.
full circle to the Cujo show.
Joe Dante had also worked on The Twilight. In 1983, he directed one of the segments in the Twilight Zone movie.
He did the really weird one with the kids. Didn't he do the one with the kid that could put people in the cornfield?
Yes, it's a Good Life. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because if you look at if you look at a lot of the creatures in that, they're very Gremlin-esque. Like he must have had the same.
Yes.
It was Rick Baker
yeah.
that did all the stuff. Yeah,
Creature guy. Yeah. The first version of the script that Chris Columbus wrote was much darker.
It's full on horror.
The Gremlins actually kill Billy's mother.
Oh God!
Throw her head down the stairs when Billy comes home.
Nice.
Which I got to be honest, I'm glad that they changed it and made her
she was badass.
So badass.
One of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah. The Gremlins actually eat Billy's dog.
No.
I 100% Spielberg was like, no, we're not doing
Number one rule in Hollywood, don't kill the dog.
You cut out
lose your
so
audience.
much audience immediately.
You lose my sister, you lose Phoebe.
Yeah.
I mean, you lose them. They will turn it off.
They
never watch
literally
it again.
get up and walk away. Yeah.
Don't kill the dog.
The Gremlins attack a McDonald's and eat the people instead of the burgers.
No, I like that.
I think that's funny.
That's commentary on commercialism and excess.
Perhaps the biggest change was that in the original script, there was no Stripe. It was actually Gizmo that turns into Stripe. He becomes evil when he feeds after midnight.
Which I have to say kind of would be more interesting because, let's be honest, after everybody turns, Gizmo is just kind of a pain in the butt, just a little something you got to carry around.
Yeah.
You know?
But he does help at the end.
Does he?
Yeah, he drives a little car and he knocks the thing over. Doesn't he save Billy?
Kinda, yeah. I guess. I guess he does redeem himself. But and that's cool. But I
mean, most of the movie he's just in a backpack.
Yeah, he's just in a backpack, and we see him jumbling around with pencils and stuff, and his little eyes going.
Something else that Steven Spielberg does, I 100% guarantee you, he looked at that and goes, "No, we have to have Gizmo through the whole thing because that's how we're going to sell toys."
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's and he also knows that you got to keep the cute. You got to have. You can't make it people against monsters for a kids movie. You got to make it people and cute little monster against bad monsters. Yeah.
One thing that the studio execs wanted cut, but Joe Dante and Chris Columbus refused, was the Phoebe Cates Santa Claus monologue.
It was bleak.
They didn't know if it should be funny or sad, and they were just confused. And Joe Dante was like, "That's the point."
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole point of this.
It is classic kind of. I think it's kind of his homage to kind of the Hammer films, and it's that kind of high drama. That melodrama that you put in these ghost stories and these stories. There's always the tale of you don't know what it's like to suffer the way I have suffered. And it's super gross. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this 40-year-old movie, Phoebe Cates doesn't like Christmas. She's a bit of a bummer. An old sweet Billy boy. He's like, "Why don't you like Christmas? Everybody likes Christmas, Phoebe Cates." And she's like, "I don't like it. I hate Christmas. I hate it." He's like, "You gotta like Christmas." And she's like, "Shut up. If you say you don't like Arbor Day," which is great because they bring up Arbor Day again because it used to be popular. People don't bat an eye, but if you say you don't like Christmas, it's the third degree. And so Billy's like, "Whoa, okay, sorry. I didn't mean to hit a nerve, weirdo." And then finally, during the mayhem of the Gremlins overtaking of the city, or the town, I should say.
Town, yeah.
Then Phoebe Cates reveals, "The reason why I hate Christmas is my father once..."
Literally got stuck in the chimney.
He wanted to play Santa, got stuck in the chimney. She went to light a fire, smelled a big old stinky stink. They knocked out the chimney. Somehow he fell down and broke his neck. Stuck in there was. Here's what I want to know: did they open the presents
that were with him?
Yeah. Did the cops be like, "Here's gifts"?
I mean, I'm sure.
Merry Christmas.
Sorry about your dad.
Let's just say these are Boxing Day presents.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it fits. It works.
Yeah, it totally works.
I think Joe Dante was 100% right about that.
It is very representative of the movie because it takes such a left turn.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, what?
But that's the whole thing about this movie. There's so many dark edges to it.
Yeah.
And that's all Joe Dante.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's him just dipping it in the dark ink. And that's part of it. And I love, by the way, Gremlins 2. And Gremlins 2 has a wonderful... Because Gremlins 2 is basically a Looney Tunes movie.
Yeah.
Self-aware. And kind of makes... It's one of the first movies that kind of makes fun of all the stuff from the first movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, please watch it. It is
so
so
much fun.
good. It is
It's so
so
much
much fun.
The execs actually went to Spielberg, and Spielberg, to his credit, he said he hated the speech too, but he was giving creative control to Dante and said it's his decision.
That is why you want a filmmaker as your producer, because he knows.
Yeah, yeah.
He knows. And he's going to back you because he knows you're not being an a-hole to be an a-hole. There's a reason.
You, you believe in this, and he believes in you, so there
exactly.
you go.
That's another. Look, we talk about him a lot because he kind of defined our childhoods movie-wise. He made the blockbuster. This guy is a genius.
He's creative, but he also has the business acumen.
Exactly. And that is what is rare.
Yes.
If you're a creative genius and a business genius, then you're going to be Spielberg, or you're going to be Lucas, or you're going to be Cameron. These guys that have these dual brains
right.
that I'm so jealous of.
Yeah.
I only have the one, and it's not even a quarter of their. I'm depressed now.
All right, well, let's take a quick break. We're going to have a drink and then come back and talk about the cast.
Hello, Jollies. Hello, Jollies. Oh, hello, Jollies. This is Karen Shannon here. I just want to say that I always listen to the Gen X Files with my huge crush. Oh, the dreamy Adam. He's my dolly. Oh, that's my dolly. Now on Spotify.
New episodes every Friday. All celebrity voices are poorly impersonated. Casting.
So Phoebe Cates was actually cast first. The execs were actually leery because of her more risque roles she had done. They were like, "Is she really gonna be good for this kids movie?"
God, so gross. I hate people. It's like, she's an actress doing stuff. Arguably the most beautiful woman working at that time,
And she's brilliant. She's great.
And such a good actress. She's so likable, but she's got that dark part. I'm sad that I haven't seen more stuff from her. I totally respect her.
Yeah.
Whatever she, live your life. She doesn't
She
owe
got
it to
married and had
anybody.
kids. Yeah, she just
But
wanted to do her
as
thing.
she kept going, she kept getting better.
Yeah.
And, I feel badly for her because, a lot of her first roles kind of objectified her. And,
Yeah.
there's that whole scene from Fast Times at Ridgemont High that's iconic.
Yeah.
But it's like she was more than that, a
She
lot
was
more
much
than that.
deeper than
and
that,
I
yeah.
think maybe, I don't know, I'm not going to speak for her, but I'm just saying every time I saw her in a movie, I really enjoyed her. And in this movie, she was great. And in Gremlins 2, she was even better. And everything she did was really fun. And I just miss seeing her.
I am sure that she said yes to this because of the speech she gives, the Santa Claus speech. Because how could you not? She delivers it so brilliantly.
She's not just a damsel in distress in this. She's kind of more fleshed out. You know?
She gets out of. She's stuck inside the bar. She gets out on her own.
Mm-hmm.
And
Saves
then
herself.
Saves herself, yeah.
And then helps Billy.
And then helps
Giz,
Billy, who's a bumbling idiot.
Yeah, I mean, Billy.
I mean, he's fine, but
and he loved her.
He did. So Zach Galligan, cast as Billy, he was relatively unknown. He connected with the role of Billy, essentially calling it himself on screen.
Yeah, he's a very likable, good-looking,
down to earth. Spielberg pushed for his casting due to his chemistry with Phoebe Cates. He was a
typical '80s dude.
He was that dude. He was just that dude.
Nice guy, wanted to do the right thing. He loves his dog.
He was one of your friends.
Yeah,
Like, he was somebody you could hang out with.
Doesn't understand why you could hate Christmas because even though his dad is perennially broke and gone, and they have to suffer through his inventions, his horrible, dangerous.
All
inventions.
of them they come in handy later, but
yes, for not the right reasons. But he's a very sunny guy. He's got a good life. He's got a nice little attic room, and he's got a dog.
Yeah, he's doing well for himself.
And for some reason, he's still getting toys at the age of 25.
That toy actually was the same one that was used in. Oh my God,
Close Encounters?
Yes.
Of the Third Kind.
It was the same one using Close Encounters. Joe Dante dropped a lot of Spielberg references in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm sure as a thank you for having him continually work.
And I'm sure, because I know that the chemistry test between Zach and Phoebe
that was
really
Spielberg.
good.
Spielberg pushed for casting due to this chemistry of Phoebe Cates. After the first screen test, Spielberg said,
"He's in love with her already."
And it was true.
Yeah.
I mean, it was true. Like,
Well, how couldn't you be?
How could you not be?
She's so charming and so pretty and just so, there was something about Phoebe Cates that was completely different. She wasn't the big blonde bombshell, Marilyn Monroe,
Right.
or, this kind of glamorous whatever. She was just kind of this really down to earth,
Yeah.
down to earth, just beautiful inside and out.
Yes, completely. Almost all of the supporting roles were well-known actors, like veteran actor Glenn Turman, who portrayed the high school science teacher.
Oh man, he was so awesome on The Wire.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my. It is the mayor.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
man.
Yeah. He was great.
He was the shiz.
He was in Peyton Place in the '60s. He was also big in A Different World,
Yep.
the Cosby Show spinoff.
Yeah.
But he was fantastic in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Except for the fact that he gets himself killed in the stupidest way.
Yeah, he didn't know. Nobody
No,
knew.
no, that's true. That's true.
But turn the lights on, buddy.
Yeah.
And turn the projector off. That's got to be.
Well, he
super.
did, but then it got turned back on.
Well, then turn it off before you go. Putting your hand down where it don't belong. You're right.
Yeah.
Ah.
Dick Miller, who was a regular in Dante's films, was another experienced actor on the set, playing the World War II veteran who first refers
Stupid Ford thinks.
to the creatures
Hey,
as gremlins.
that's a stupid Ford. Hey, look at that car. It's because it got Ford parts. The most xenophobic man
Yes.
of the 1980s, but apparently vindicated. But
They ran his house over.
well, you know what? He was drunk in a bar, almost driving home. You know why he was so depressed, Adam?
Why was he so
Because they put foreign parts in my snowplow. Foreign parts, Adam.
Dick Miller had been in hundreds of movies
great
between
actor.
1955 and 2019. He literally acted up until like a week before he died.
Yeah, because he loved it, and he was so good at it.
Did not stop. He was just over 90 when he finally passed. He also starred with Roger Corman, much like most of Hollywood.
That guy was in everything. Everything.
He was. The Man with the X-Ray Eyes is one of my favorite movies.
Oh yeah,
He's so
but he
great
was
in
in
that.
like Terminator. He was in.
The Burbs.
Yeah, he was
Also another Joe
Small
Dante
Soldiers.
movie.
Another
Small
Dante
Soldiers,
put him
yeah.
in everything because he was a great character actor and he was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think he was in Gremlins 2.
Yes, he was.
So
Yes,
he did
was.
survive because
He
I
did.
thought he died. and
No,
his
he
wife-
made it. He made it through.
The woman who plays his wife is another great actress too, and that relationship, that poor woman. She's so sunny and happy, and you're so funny. And he's like, TV's not working. Foreign parts, stupid foreign TV. Good Lord. Let's just be like, dude, let's go. We're going to go down and we're going to meet some people from different countries, okay? And you're going to realize that you're a fool and everything's fine. You just relax.
He did meet people from other countries, and then he shot them during World War II.
Yes, well, he needs to meet other people that he doesn't shoot.
That he doesn't shoot.
Yes.
Rand, Billy's father, is played by Hoyt Axton.
Yeah,
he
Hoyt
was
Axton.
he was always the filmmaker's preferred choice. He had some acting experience, like he played the father in The Black Stallion, but mostly he was a country music singer songwriter.
He's just great. He's just hugely likable.
Yes, again,
You know,
also
he's very
down to
very
earth.
charismatic. I wanted him to be my dad.
Oh my God, just the him trying to sell everything all the time was so
Here's the
fantastic.
bathroom buddy. Yeah, I'm going to tell you about this bathroom buddy. This is the last thing you're ever going to need, a bathroom buddy.
Wow, that is a really spot on impression of Hoyt Axton. That was good.
Yes, all the impersonations I do are completely useless.
That was very good. You have very same timbre in your voice as he does. Frances Lee McCain played his mom, Mama Lynn Pilzer.
Oh man, she's awesome. She was a perennial mom in the '80s.
She was. She played Leah Thompson's mom in Back to the Future. Remember the scene
Yeah.
where the
Sitting around the
sitting
table?
talking about Joey in the prison bars.
Sure.
Yeah. She played Gordy LaChance's mom in Stand by Me.
Not as great a mom as
no,
the other moms.
No,
'cause-
and much smaller part.
well,
but,
no, I'm
like,
just saying that Gordy LaChance
Yeah.
was pretty abused.
She also appeared as Kevin Bacon's mom in Footloose.
Yeah, another
She
mom.
had a string of like 2 years there where she played everybody's mom.
She was so awesome in Footloose because she was like the cool mom.
Yeah.
You know, but why did she move him to such an awful place?
Mr. Wing, the old Chinese salesman who Hoyt
Shop
Axton
owner.
gets
Come
a
on,
shop-
man.
Sorry, shop
He
owner.
owns the
You're right.
shop.
Sorry,
He's not
he
just a
owns-
salesman.
shop owner. He was played by
Curios and curiosities.
he was played by Key Luke, a renowned film actor whose film career literally spanned half a century.
Yeah.
And although he was around 80 at the time
Yeah.
of filming, his character he didn't look old enough,
Yeah.
so they had to put old man makeup on
Yeah.
him.
That must have
Because-
been an awesome day for him.
He looked like he was 40,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Nope, you got to look older."
We got to age you up to look your age. Oh, really? All right.
Well, then I guess so.
I'm gonna call my granddaughter and tell her something. Get me the rotary phone. Here, I'll be doing this for the next 40 minutes, Adam. You can come back to me.
Corey Feldman, who up to that time had primarily been in commercials, played Pete Fontaine, established his early credentials as a child actor before he was in everything.
He was great. He was a great little actor, when he started out. That poor dude, man. His parents, his family, he's one of those tragic tales of just used, abused, and then thrown to the gutter. But such a little talent, such a great little talent back then.
Yeah, he was very good, very, very good. Polly Holliday,
great little. He's like 50 now. Great little talent.
Polly Holliday, an actress best known for her role in Alice,
Kiss My Grits,
played Mrs. Deagle. Deagle.
Ugh. So gross. She was amazing. I just love those performances where the words just drip.
Yeah.
From their mouths.
It's such a great part.
When she's amazing.
And her death is so fantastic.
Oh, the best.
Literally made me laugh out loud.
Everybody. Yeah. We watched it. We rewatched it the other night, and Adam's girlfriend Phoebe was watching it with us, and she quite enjoyed that death. Well, especially after all the threats to the pooch.
Oh, yes. Dante he considered the casting fortunate, as she was well known and considered to be very talented, and she was apparently very hard to get hold of. So
sure,
he was very happy she was in it,
and really playing against type because Flo was an extremely likable character. She was, they made her own show. She got a spin-off show, Flo. Flo
the show.
She was the original Flo before that insurance Flo. The faux Flo, as I call her. Flo.
Judge Reinhold and character actor Edward Andrews received roles that were significantly reduced after the film was edited. They played the bosses at the bank.
And Judge and Phoebe reunited after being in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah.
He was such a douche in that movie.
He was. He totally was.
I'll be.
Oh, God, he's just...
I'm a vice president at 23. I'm going to have his job at 25. Millionaire at 30.
He played a very similar character to the Fast Times, just a little douchier.
No, his Fast Times character was super likable.
But
the Fast Times character was like, I'm going to do this, and this, because he's a high school kid, and then in Gremlins, I'm going to do this, and this, because I'm an 80s
If he hadn't
douche.
gotten fired, he would have become the bank teller from Gremlins.
You know what the difference was between the two characters, honestly?
What's that?
Cocaine. Cocaine, because it makes you a douche.
Steven Spielberg actually has a cameo as a man riding a recumbent bicycle when Hoyt has to call, or Rand, has to call back to home, and there's a guy.
There's a rotating cast of cameos, and each time he calls from the convention.
He's only on screen. Spielberg's only on screen for like half a second, but he was riding a bike around in circles.
Oh.
And the other guy who had the glasses and hangs up and then walks away was Jerry Goldsmith, but he was actually playing Joe Dante. He dressed up like Joe Dante to do the part. Yeah. Because apparently they
a lot of layers to those
to those characters that mean nothing.
Again, cocaine. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have you, Jerry Goldsmith. This is going to be really funny. This is going to be super funny. Okay, listen to me. You're going to dress as me, do a cameo as me, but you're going to be you doing me as cameo. What are you talking about, Joe? I just want to make some music.
Just do it.
Just trust me. Put on this hat. Okay, I need some water. Okay, my mouth's super dry.
And perhaps the other greatest cameo in the movie, which I recall
the greatest cameo
having a bigger part in this, but rewatching it again, he was only in it for like half a minute. It was Chuck Jones.
Yeah, my personal hero.
He shows up at the house and says, "Hey, here, help me." And Chuck Jones is like, "Yes." And that's it. That's the whole scene. Yeah.
Chuck Jones is one of the greatest animation directors, producers.
Yes.
All your favorite Bugs Bunny or Warner Brothers cartoons were probably directed by Chuck Jones.
Yes, very much so. All right, let's take another quick break, and then we'll come back and talk about filming and the impact of the movie and how it made so much money.
Like zoinks, man, it's Shaggy and Ruby-Roo. And like when we're cruising around in the mystery machine, man, we're like always listening to the Gen X Files.
With Raymond Radham.
Now on Spotify.
New episodes every Friday. All celebrity voices are poorly impersonated. Filming.
So it was shot on the Universal and Warner Brothers backlot. They used a lot of fake snow, which Dante said would help sell the special effects. Because
that stuff is mostly soap.
Yeah, it's really gross.
You're just breathing in that garbage. It's awful. To make stuff look good is torture for the crew.
Yeah.
You know?
It used to be asbestos. They would use asbestos.
Yeah, it's just, Oh man, whatever.
It looked like snow.
Yeah.
I mean, it would fall like snow.
Yeah, whatever. It looks good.
Cancer schmancer.
Yeah.
They made an early attempt to use monkeys instead of puppets, which would have made it a much different movie.
Why, Adam? Is it always monkeys? They always start with monkeys.
You know, as an exec was like, why we want to build puppets? Let's just get some monkeys.
Look, I got a guy. I know a guy. We can get 80 spider monkeys for about $50. They're a little damaged. Okay? They're a little damaged. But you put the mask on them, nobody's going to know.
Yeah, so they did a test shoot with the monkey and put the gremlin head on, and the monkey freaked out.
No way.
And I wish I could see this footage.
I bet you that's not on the DVD special features. That poor monkey.
It probably actually did exactly what they wanted. Is just that the monkey was just freaking out.
Well, no, it was probably whipping its head around trying to get the mask off. It's like
Yeah.
you just hooded
just
it.
a
You know, you don't.
Bad idea.
A monkey doesn't know it's going to be a gremlin in a movie. It's just like you just put a stinky rubber thing on its head. And,
So numerous small rubber puppets, some of which were mechanical, were used to portray Gizmo and the Gremlins. They were designed by Chris Wallace. There was more than one Gizmo puppet, and occasionally Galligan, when carrying one, would set him down off camera, and then Gizmo appeared again, and he would be a completely different puppet.
they were really great puppets.
Joe Dante did a great job of setting up the shots to sell the fact that he was a real creature. Like, he did a really good job of that.
Yeah. Well, also the puppet makers did a really good job.
Yeah.
Because it's, and I said it about E.T., and we'll say it about this. It's the eyes.
Yeah.
And they did a great job with the eyes. And if you don't have the eyes, you don't have the puppet. If you don't have the eyes, you don't have the audience.
Puppets had a lot of limitations. They were particularly frustrating because they were smaller and thus broke down more. Wallace actually wanted Gizmo to be much bigger to help with the puppetry, but Dante insisted they keep him small, keep him cute.
Yeah, he was right, though. I mean,
Yes.
there had to be that difference between the scary gremlins and the good gremlins,
Yeah.
just because then the triumph of Gizmo driving his little sports car,
His Barbie
trying
car.
to be Clark Gable or whoever, whatever movie he was watching.
Oh, yeah.
That's how he learned to drive.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
By watching Clark Gable. Yeah, I think you had to have him be a cute, small little thing that you were always kind of worried about. You were always
Yeah.
concerned about his
Yeah.
safety.
I mean, you have to protect him. He's tiny and small and cute. Because the cast was so grumpy about the puppets and they'd break down a lot, they actually added in the scene where they stuck him up on the dartboard and threw darts at him because the cast was so pissed off about him. They had a list called the horrible things to do to Gizmo list.
Yeah, throw darts at him, throw him down the dumbwaiter or the laundry chute, whatever that was, and then
Yeah, the laundry chute. Yeah, they used a few marionettes as well.
they did a good job of making representing fear on Gizmo's
Yes.
face. Like they did a really good job of portraying emotion.
He did. For me, it was always the little shaking would sell. Like it was just like the like tiny little vibrating.
Yeah. Yeah, and his like big yawns and stuff. He was just
He
cute.
was so adorable. They created a couple of large Mogwai for close-ups to enhance the animation and motion of the creature, and it's funny because when they're all eating, oh my god,
What was that gross sticky goo?
it
must be like glue.
I
or-
looked it up and I could not find anything. I think it was
the same
a mixture
stuff.
of like cornstarch. I think it's the same stuff as
It's
the
the
Ghostbusters.
ectoplasm. Yeah, it's just this weird, sticky, nasty stuff.
I tried to look it up, and the creators, the guys who created it for Ghostbusters, have never released the recipe.
Interesting.
And in fact, even the new movie that just came out, the guy was like, "I'm not going to tell you."
Well, were they the same guys that did Gremlins?
No,
Oh.
it just must be some. I'm guessing it's like cornstarch and corn syrup.
So
and-
gross. They're
It's
just so
yeah.
goopy. It's such a gross, goopy movie.
and it's just coming out of their faces. Like it's just the whole thing's just gross.
Eating those little chicken wings or whatever. I don't know.
The chicken. Oh god.
Just the shiny goo around their faces. Bleh.
So because those,
I got to tell you, man.
Yeah.
Those big Mogwai puppets must have been scary.
Oh, and I got the impression they were like 3 feet wide because they had to
Yeah.
get the close-ups. They created giant chicken bones and chicken things to sell it. And,
That sounds frightening.
I can't. The whole thing was just horrifying. An enlarged gizmo puppet was needed for some scenes, like where he multiplies, where they're all popping out of his
Right.
back. The small furry balls were all just balloons
Yeah.
that they were covered in fur, and they used a balloon for the microwave exploding gremlin.
That's what's so fun about practical effects is you can just use common.
Yeah.
It's practical's pretty easy and pretty fun. I've done a lot of practical stuff, and you get yourself some filament and some balloons and some
Yeah.
corn syrup. You got yourself a horror movie.
It's true. It's very true. Howie Mandel provided the voice for Gizmo.
He was very popular back then as a stand-up comedian.
Yes.
He would put a surgical glove on his nose, over his head, and his nose, and blow it up with his nose, and look like a chicken or something. I think that was his thing. He was really dumb. His stand-up was super dumb. He played like the dumbest guy. And then he had a really popular cartoon where he played himself as a child because he did these little baby voices.
Yeah. That was one of his big selling points was he would pretend to be a kid and do jokes as a
baby
kid.
voice.
Yeah.
Baby voice.
Yeah, and
He was very different than he is today as the germophobic game show host that he's become. Still, God love him, still working
Yeah,
hard.
yeah, doing his
talented guy. But he's another guy that was really fun to watch his career change from being a dummy. That's his act. Was
Yeah,
being,
yeah.
He wasn't a dummy as a person.
No, he's not a dumb person.
But he played the dumb guy, and then played the kind of child boy guy,
Mm-hmm.
and then now he's the homophobe. He's the germophobic bald game show host.
Yeah.
The penis in a suit. That's what I have to call him.
Frank Welker actually provided the voice for Stripe. And actually, he suggested Howie Mandel for the voice of
because they
Gizmo.
worked together on his show.
His show, yep.
Yeah, because Frank Welker is one of the preeminent voiceover actors from the last 50 years.
100
Still working today.
Yeah, 100
Guys
million
on The
things.
Simpsons all the time. Just one of the
Amazing
best.
voice. Yeah,
One of the
amazing,
absolute
yeah.
best. Unsung hero.
The puppets' lines were mostly invented by the voice actors based on cues from the physical actions of the puppets. The majority of the other Gremlins voices were performed by Michael Winslow, the man of 10,000 voices.
Oh man, he's the best. That guy, it was weird. He was on America's Got Talent recently.
Oh, was he?
Recently.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, my daughter or my grandkids or something was like, you should, you're still so great. You should go on.
Yeah.
And he went on and he did his, his little guitar thing. And he did some new stuff. And this guy still got it. Go on YouTube. I'm sure there's a ton of clips of him doing his weird sounds and stuff because that guy could make some of the most unique sounds come out of his mouth.
Incredible.
Anybody ever. Watch Police Academy. Watch his stand-up, and you'll really grow to appreciate this cat.
The film was scored by Jerry Goldsmith, who actually won a Saturn Award for Best Music for the
Jerry
movie.
Goldsmith, just second behind our main man, John Williams.
John Williams.
Yeah.
He also wrote Gizmo's song, which was actually hummed by a child actor and acquaintance rather than Mandel. Yeah. Oh my God, that's so creepily accurate.
I was the child actor.
So the movie was produced on an $11 million budget. It was more expensive than Spielberg had originally intended, but it was still pretty cheap for its time.
Good Lord, yeah,
$11
man.
Especially considering all the physical effects, practical effects.
Yeah,
and stuff.
and the fact that they basically just made a town on the back lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot like the Back to the Future town a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of a cameo there.
Yes.
The trailer briefly explains that Billy receives a strange creature as a Christmas present. It goes over the 3 rules, and then it comes out with the fact that the creatures transform into terrible monsters.
Yeah,
but they don't show any of it.
No. So you don't know just the extent of the horror that you're about to see. Also, I just love the way that Hoyt Axton delivers that. He's like, okay, guys, there's some stuff we've got to go over. Number 1. You can't get them wet. No baths, no nothing. No drink of water. Can't get them wet. You don't feed them after midnight at all. Don't feed them after midnight. And no bright lights. God doesn't like you don't like seeing bright lights. But other than that, everything. But it's like, well, what midnight? Is
Yeah,
it like
yeah.
midnight in
Is it-
China or midnight here? Like, what about daylight savings time?
I think it's that's a good question. Daylight
Yeah.
saving time. You just threw me for a loop, Jim.
Yeah. What are you thinking?
Because I'm convinced that what it means is that it's the hours after midnight before the sun comes up.
Okay.
Because then the sunlight will kill them. How that works, I don't know.
They're like weird little vampires.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? And so if sunlight killed them, then how did they... I guess they the night flights for the Royal Air Force? Is when they attacked? I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, there's more questions that are going to come
Yeah.
up that are going to ruin this movie for everybody. So just be prepared.
Yeah, yeah.
This is okay. Again, just like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and all these other movies, these are our favorite movies.
Yes.
That we have seen dozens of times over the years.
Yes,
And we have
yeah.
earned the right to tease them a little bit.
We pick them apart because we love them.
Exactly. Just like that's how you know I care about you.
Yeah,
The more I
yeah.
tease you, the more I care about you. It's a horrible,
must
horrible thing.
Really care for me a lot.
I do, Adam. You dumb bastard.
The TV commercials literally just concentrated on Gizmo and totally
Yeah.
left out the Gremlins.
Yeah.
They were trying to make it seem more like a family film, like
Yes.
E.T. Now, that's not the smartest move in the world because this is definitely not a family movie.
I, as a young tween or teen, early teen, loved it. I was pleasantly surprised with all the goo and the
Yeah,
gross and the
yeah.
blops and the bloops.
Sure, of course.
Man, I was just like in heaven. The children around me screeching and crying as their mothers pulled them out of there. Not so much.
So it was released the same day as Ghostbusters. It came in second with $12.5 million, which was only about $1 million less than Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
So
I know. It was close.
It was a good weekend for both of them.
They got my money. Well, one of them did.
By the end of its American screenings on November 29th, it had grossed $148 million domestically, making it the fourth highest grossing movie of the year behind Beverly Hills Cop, Ghostbusters, and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Nice. What a great year for movies, man. What an
Fantastic year.
amazing year for movies. Arguably, maybe, well, I don't know, one of the best years for movies, though.
I would agree. Gremlins had an international audience, so Joe Dante and Spielberg had the foresight to do different versions of the film to overcome cultural barriers.
Oh, good.
Howie Mandel actually learned to speak a few intelligible lines, such as bright light, in various languages, including German.
Bright light. Blitzkrieg.
Regional music and humor were incorporated into foreign language versions.
Nice.
Dante credited this work as being one of the factors which helped make Gremlins a worldwide success.
That's so smart to take a blockbuster film and kind of tailor it towards the different cultures. That's super smart.
Yeah,
That's where you're going to
yeah.
get a hit because you take the extra time to give people a little bit of cookie. You know, they're going to eat it up and love it.
100%. Critics generally love the movie. They were critical of the fact that it was released during the summer, not during Christmas.
That was so stupid. This would have been
Huge.
maybe the biggest movie of
Yeah,
the year
yeah.
if they released it during Christmas.
It just blows my mind.
Yeah.
It doesn't, because everything in it is like Christmas.
Yeah.
All the advertising is Christmas based.
It's so snowy.
It just, the whole thing doesn't make sense.
And it's got this total, and they use it in the movie. It's so weird to say this, but it's got it's a wonderful life vibe to
Yes,
it. It really
100%.
does. It's like they
Yeah,
took that town and destroyed it. It's so brilliant.
Yeah,
No
it-
angels got their wings, but a gremlin got his eatons. I don't know.
The biggest complaint were from audiences about the violence depicted in the film. They were particularly present in people who had brought their children, many of
Yeah.
whom walked out of the theater before the movie ended.
Yes.
Dante admitted to reporters later that
The idea of taking a 4-year-old to see Gremlins, thinking it's gonna be a cuddly, funny animal movie, and then seeing it turns into a horror picture, I think people were upset. They felt like they were being sold something family friendly, and it wasn't entirely family friendly. But whatever, bunch of jerks, babies.
because of Gremlins, Steven Spielberg petitioned the MPAA to create a new rating.
That's insane, by the way. That shows you the power that Steven Spielberg had.
Yeah,
Is he insisted, and they acquiesced
they did.
to create a brand new rating for their films.
Yeah,
but there
yeah.
is a gray area between something PG and something R.
Yeah,
You know, our messed up culture sees language and nudity as like the worst things in society, but violence is awesome.
Violence is
Have
fine.
Much violence as you want. Can't show a lot of blood, but kill a million people. We don't care. You show a booby and you say the F word, well, you're going into the R-rated territory, buddy.
Yeah.
Because we're Puritans, except for violence.
Yeah, 2 months later, the MPAA introduced PG-13.
Yep.
All because of Spielberg. There was a sequel, obviously, Gremlins 2 of the new batch, which I really honestly deserves its own episode.
Oh my, it will.
So
It will
good.
get one. I think we should do it.
We'll do a sequels month.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Sequels that are better or equal to
Yes.
their originals.
There is rumors of a third movie, which would actually be a sequel, not a reboot.
Nah,
Joe
I'm
Dante's
interested.
talking about it. Like, it's been in talks since like 2013 or something, so I don't know if it's actually going to happen.
As long as they don't go full CG.
They will.
They will, and it won't be the same.
Unless it's Joe Dante still. I
I
mean,
think he would be up to doing the practical because,
Yeah.
I mean, look, Grogu's mostly practical.
That's
right?
true. That is true.
You
That's a
know?
good point.
And
That's a good
he
point.
captured America.
He did. He was the
Like
new
a young
Gizmo.
Kermit the Frog or a young Gizzy Gizmo,
Young
or
Gizmo,
a
yeah.
pretty E.T.
It's true. They really
know.
the little tiny things that fit in your pocket. They really sell well.
The practical works. Just look, I really enjoyed that Call of the Wild movie with Harrison Ford,
Yeah.
but I couldn't get past the dog really because it
Yeah.
wasn't real.
He was too CG. Yeah.
It's the CG is remarkable, man, but it just doesn't.
You still know it's CG.
You cannot get the same response unless it's a completely animated film.
Right.
You know, everybody's animated, or it's like, you know, Sonic the Hedgehog or some BS where it's like,
Yeah,
he's a,
yeah.
you know, but it just doesn't work. You need that physical puppet. You need something to hold. You need eyes
Yeah.
that
The
capture
eyes.
your heart. You know, you have to have that.
Take
I
it-
don't think
yeah.
they're there yet with CG.
I agree. So of course, Spawn toys, video games. They were in tons of commercials. Gizmo promoted everything. I think there was a commercial just recently that
Yeah.
was that it involved Gizmo.
I think he reunited with Zach.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think it was a lot like that weird ET
Yeah,
thing,
they
which was
just-
awful.
yeah. Hitting those nostalgia buttons. As
Yeah,
hard
but
as they can.
they just misfire though. They're not good. They don't do a good
Yeah.
job of they don't. They're not deserved of being resurrected in these different incarnations.
Yeah.
I think. But you know, didn't they have a? Was there a Gremlins cartoon?
There was not.
God,
there was a pilot that was done around the same time
Yeah.
in the mid '80s.
Okay.
and it never saw the light of day because apparently it was very violent. And it
Sure.
was supposed to be a kids show.
So weird.
So it didn't go anywhere.
I have this memory. Huh.
I thought there was too, but I did a lot of research
No,
in
I'm
trying
sure.
to find
No,
it.
I'm not faulting you.
Because in my brain I
Yeah.
was like, I know I've seen animated Gizmo. I know I have.
It just exactly. Maybe it was a commercial or something.
probably
or,
something,
You know, for their
or-
cereal because I think there was a cereal. and
They
there
did
was all
appear in the Gremlins did appear in the new Space Jam movie.
sorts- Right.
They
Yeah.
were walking in to go see the
Everything
basketball
was in the Space
match
Jam
or
movie.
whatever.
Everything except entertainment was in that movie. They lost that. They forgot that one ingredient.
But there is an animated series coming out called Gremlins: Secrets of the Mogwai, which
Yeah.
is going to be released on HBO Max as a
Nice.
Max original and on the Cartoon Network because they're still pushing,
Yeah.
the free stuff. But it is a prequel set in the 1920s China about the old Sam Wing and how when he was a kid and how he found Gizmo.
Oh.
And then them being chased by across the Chinese countryside by a
Dragon?
No, it's a
Nazi?
corporate. No, like a CEO, like a
corporation?
where am I? Yeah, it's a guy, like a businessman, like a rich businessman who is trying to turn the gremlins into weapons.
Oh.
And so he has an army of gremlins that chase him. As far as I know, all the voice casts are all Chinese. Like it's like BD Wong and
Awesome.
and stuff. So like I get the impression it's just straight Chinese, like all set in China.
Well, this could be
and
good. I got, you know.
I'm excited about it.
I'd like to see a sequel. Look, I'm really looking forward to seeing the Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be really fun. I like this stuff that tells a new story rather than just recycling the old stuff, but
Yeah.
using the old stuff to tell a new story. Like I like
Yeah.
the female Ghostbusters.
It was fun.
You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't awful. It didn't ruin Ghostbusters. I don't think it was a great movie, but it wasn't a bad movie.
Thought
and-
it was one of Chris Hemsworth's best performances.
Oh, he was amazing. There's so much great stuff in that movie. And,
It's really fun,
But this
yeah.
movie, it just seems more like a love letter to Ghostbusters
Yeah.
rather than, using the Ghostbusters
Yeah,
thing.
I mean, it's Jason Reitman,
It's his dad.
He's giving a love letter to his dad,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. It's just it looks good, but I think that's I would love to see a Gremlins with Phoebe Cates and with Zach. And,
God, it would be great for her to start acting again.
yeah, and just they're married and he gets his kid. It's just it writes itself.
Yeah.
Hollywood, I'm doing it again. I'm just an idea factory, but I would love to see. That's something that has. Okay, so this prequel thing, awesome, because I think Gremlins, like Star Wars or The Terminator or Mad Max or all these different things, has different stories within the universe that doesn't necessarily have to rely on the source material, the material beforehand. So you could tell a million Mogwai stories, and I think this prequel is a brilliant idea because it will have the same vibe. It's going to be the same Gremlin.
Yeah.
Because Gizmo is,
He's Gizmo. I mean, he
lives forever. I don't know.
He's a million years old. I mean, I don't know. Maybe all these questions we have might be answered.
Which is cool too. Prequel. I want to know what these Mogwais are, where they come from.
I mean, they have to. If it's a series, they're going to have to delve deeper into that.
Yes, but this is good. This is good. I'm all for this. I'm all for exploring new avenues within a franchise.
Yeah.
I don't like remakes so much. I don't like reboots so much.
Yeah.
I think, especially with horror movies, I think it's a bad idea. Make something new. I think it's a bad idea because horror movies, like we said, the down and dirties are the way to go. These glossy remakes are crap. And the same thing with this kind of stuff because it's not just these are movies that we not only grow up with, but I would assume because I don't have them that you share with your children or your grandchildren 100%. Or your nieces and nephews. And these are the films that we get together during the holidays and watch.
Yeah.
And it deserves exploration, but nothing that's going to besmirch the original.
I will never forget the day that I watched Jurassic Park and my nephews saw it for the first time. And they were young. They probably were a little younger than they should have been. The 8-year-old was hiding sometimes from the dinosaurs. But he loved the movie.
Yeah.
And, it was so nice being there and to see their reaction to it and being like, that was me back when it came out.
That's one regret that I do have of not having kids.
Yeah.
Because I think it would be really fun to share, because I'm just a big kid who never grew up, and I think it would be fun to share all the stuff that I loved with somebody, but then they probably wouldn't like it, and then they just call me an a-hole and go back to their phone. I'm glad I didn't have kids.
All right, well, we're pretty much out of time, so final verdict, is it a Christmas movie?
Yes, 100% a Christmas movie. It takes place during Christmas. It's snowy. It's basically...
Yes.
It's a Wonderful Life with little monsters.
It is a twisted version of It's a Wonderful Life.
We get one of the most harrowingly depressing, disgusting Christmas stories ever with the dead dad and
one of the greatest kills ever on screen with Mrs. Deagle flying through the air from her chair.
Well, she basically used the kitchen to kill them. It was like revenge of the housewife.
It was such a great sequence.
The mixer and the microwave and the knife.
The women are strong in this movie.
She was, really nice. And when he brought her to the doctor's, that's where it was. That's where Chuck Jones was, wasn't he? He brought his mom there when she was hurt.
Yes,
Wasn't he the doctor?
Well, yeah, he said
the
doctor
neighbor
or something. Yeah.
So that's where we saw Chuck Jones. But she had like a big old bloody. Yeah. There was a lot of blood. That's what I think why it was a little bit more green goop and bloopity bloop. But there was a lot of blood with the scratches and stuff.
Man, that gremlin blown up in the microwave is so gross.
Those melty sounds again. When the things were, they showed the eggs, the pupa stage. And the smoke and stuff. Oh, so well done. So well done. Such a great movie. Sit down, get both of them.
Yeah.
Get yourself.
Do a double feature.
Okay. This is how I like doing holiday double features. I like making them sandwiches. So, you got your Gremlins as the bread. You got to put something in the middle to cleanse your palate between. I would say watch, if you can get a hold of it, a great meat in that Gremlin sandwich would be Santa Claus is Coming to Town with Mr. Heat Miser and Mr.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Freeze. I'm Mr. Heat Miser. I'm Mr. Hot. I'm Mr. Beep Bop Ba. I'm Mr. 100 Bam and do dang ding dang dang. But I think that goes with it. That's your sandwich. That's your holiday sandwich for that double feature.
Well, thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week with Lethal Weapon, another Is it a Christmas
Is it
movie?
a Christmas movie? And I say F yes.
We're not getting too old for this.
Yes. yes. Maybe we are. No, hey, Mom. What? What the hell? Jibbity joops. I had a stroke. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming, Charlie's Angels, already in progress.